Welcome to the Art of Grace podcast, where God is creating a better you. You're watching Season 2, Episode 2. Our special guest today is Mrs. Anika Allen of 5-Star Friendships. Listen in as we talk about building healthy friendships. Hey everybody, it's your number one Grace girl coming to you with another episode of Art of Grace. I am beyond excited because my guest today is Miss Anika Allen from 5-Star Friendships. And you won't believe how we met. I mean, her story is incredible. I mean, we just talked, like on Saturday?
Yeah.
Yes, so it was a God thing, I promise you. But welcome to the Art of Grace podcast. Listen, Anika is my first guest of the year.
Oh, am I?
Yes, you are.
I feel special. Oh, my goodness.
Yes, I can't call myself a guest. I know that I just released the episode about a week and a half ago, but Anika's my first guest, and so she's gonna bring us into the new year. I think that it was like meant to happen that way, because I had an opportunity to meet Anika a couple of weeks ago. We didn't actually meet. I was at an event. Hey, Dr. Harriet. It was a women's networking event, and Anika was one of the presenters there. And the funny thing is that her presentation was cut really short, but although it was short, it was very impactful. And I was like,
I was working it as much as I could.
And she was working the whole entire room. I promise you, it was like a room full of beautiful women. Shout out to all the women who were at the networking event. I can't wait to see you at the next one. But once she finished and, she did her little presentation, I was like, oh my God, I have got to get her on the podcast. Who would have known that she would have been my first guest of the year? Okay, who would have known that?
Oh, no pressure, no pressure. Okay,
no pressure.
Set the bar high and do your audience proud.
Yes. And listen, I tell you, the amazing thing is that we just talked this past Saturday, and when we talked, we had so much in common. It was so much commonality there. And that's what I love about us getting together as women is, just finding those things that we have in common.
Yeah.
And so I wanted her to share with you about her organization, her company, how it got started. I'm telling you, it blessed my socks off. I was so inspired after hanging up that call.
Bless your socks off. I have never heard that before. I love that.
Bless my socks off. Okay, just let me say that. But I'm so happy she's my first guest of the year. I wanted this to be an amazing first episode for you all. Thank you for all of you who have subscribed and who've been listening, who have blessed and sown into the ministry. I appreciate you so much. And we're gonna have some amazing guests coming on, this year. So just look out. But I wanted Anika to share, her gift that she has with you all. And I wanted you, so listen, stay tuned to the end of the podcast because she is not only going to share her platform, she's going to also share a little giveaway. So one of you all might win that giveaway. So please stay tuned in. You may be watching on YouTube. Also catch us on Apple and Spotify. All right, so you can listen to us in your car as well. But I just wanted Anika to share, about the 5-Star Friendship.
Yes, and some people might be wondering, why are y'all in the closet? Okay,
Yes.
Let's start there with the scenery, okay?
Yes, we're not in Farra's art room because you guys know I'm usually in my art room in my house. So, yes.
This is my closet. I call it the bloom room. I was about to say the boom room.
Yes.
Y'all remember that movie Life with Eddie Murphy and
Yes.
Martin? It's not the boom room. That's not going on in this closet. Well, when we first moved it. Okay, I'm not going to go there.
Yes.
Never mind. No, I'm talking about how okay, let me stay focused. Okay.
Yes.
I call it the bloom room, where I come to blossom. And so I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. My parents are great, but like a lot of other people, they're just hardworking.
Yes.
Tried to provide as best we could.
Yes.
I shared a room with my sister who was hella messy. And I was always like, when I get on my own, I'm going to get a great closet. I'm going to fill it with great, beautiful clothes.
Listen.
So I hope all of you out there watching, do you have like a little sanctuary, a little place you can go, even if it's just a corner of the house? For some of y'all, it's just your car, right? When you pull up, you don't get out immediately.
Exactly.
You just kind of take a moment. Well, I come into this closet to just rejuvenate, to get away. It's a lot of testosterone. I'm a mom of 2 boys and then my husband. So it's testosterone overload, but this is my girly space. So when we were talking about doing the interview, I do my daily friendship posts from this closet. So I started 5-Star Friendships because I wanted people to, one, know that they should be prioritizing friendships, and many of us are not. And I'm not
Yes.
talking about,
Yes.
oh, I got to make sure I celebrate my girlfriend's birthday. I'm talking about really prioritizing and being intentional about friendships.
Yes.
And then two, there are so many studies, countless studies of how friendship is linked to long-term happiness. So we can talk about that.
Yes. Yes.
And so I started 5-Star Friendships to reach out to people who were having trouble making friends, and for those people who already have friends, but you might be unaware of some of the benefits that you are missing. You're not taking full advantage of, your girlfriends or your guy friends. So that's how it got started.
That's amazing. Listen, the closet is very nice. Okay. So I was like, listen, Anika, I want to come to your house to record in this closet. So when she shares her platforms, please go on and see her daily reels that she puts out. They're amazing. But in what you were just saying, how you got started with, because, when she did the little presentation at the networking event, it was very impactful, and it was about friendship. And I was going through something recently, I think I told you, with a friend, so there was kind of like a breaking apart.
Right.
And I have long-term friends. Like I have friends that I know from like elementary school.
What a blessing.
And, we stay in touch on Facebook. I have friends from high school, people that I know for so many years. And I found it harder for me to connect at this age. Well, let me not say this age, because I think I shared with you that I've been here for like 11 years. So in moving here, I had a very strong circle of women in Richmond, Virginia. And coming here, I just felt like I couldn't find that. I was like, but I'm like, could I not find it, or was I not willing to look for it?
Right.
Because once I opened myself up to it, I think I told you like 2 years ago, I was like, you know what? I mean, it's been all about family since I've been here, but it's time for me to get out and get connected with the community.
That's right.
It's time for me to get with the girls group. So Black Girls Run, joining them, and then other friendships. And it has brought me life. I do feel more alive, So when you were saying that the other day about how having friendships can enrich your life, I want you to elaborate on that.
Yeah. So the longest running study on happiness is being conducted by Harvard University. And what they found, longest running, over 70 years, following people and finding out what makes them, happy. It's not where you live. It's not your title that you have at work. It's not how much you make. It is friendships and social connection. They have found that over and over again. I'm not sure if you have seen the Blue Zone study.
No.
They did a Netflix special, and I have loved this. It started with National Geographic, and saying, where are people in the world living the longest, like 100 years or more, and not just one or two people somebody you found in a cave, like consistently generation after generation, and where are they the happiest? And so they call those the Blue Zones. But people aren't reading National Geographic the way they used to. Magazines. People don't like to read books, even though I love to read books. So they decided to put the research into a Netflix documentary. And it corroborated what Harvard and so many other people have found. When you go to those pockets all over the world, whether it's Asia, whether it's Africa, Europe, South America, they are finding that people who are the happiest are people who are connected to other folks.
Wow.
Right? They're not regretting on their deathbed, that they didn't write another proposal or that they didn't get a different kind of car. They're saying, oh, I wish I had, asked that person to go out on a date. I wish I had been there for so-and-so. And so time and time again, there's research that shows if you are lonely, consistently lonely. We all have moments when we feel lonely, but are isolated from people too long, it cuts off years off of your life.
Wow.
It can increase heart disease. It can increase high blood pressure. And when you are depressed, you're just more susceptible to really physical ailments as well as emotional.
Is from the isolation and not being around people.
That is exactly right. That is exactly right. We are built as humans to connect with other people. We're not built to be alone. Now, do we all need our alone time? Like when I come in this closet, close the door, say, don't nobody bother me? Yes. Do we need to just go out and have that coffee by ourselves or go on your patio and chill? Yes. But consistently, you need people in your life. And so I have moved to different places as well, and always had to find, like, where's my group? But it's funny because I know people and I work with people who say, I moved to a new area, right? It could be military if that relates to you. It could be a new job. You could have just had to get away from some foolishness. We've been there too. And so you're in a new area and you're like, I can't connect with anybody. A lot of times people are making two mistakes. One, they are looking for what they had.
Oh my gosh. As she was saying that, that's exactly what I was thinking, that I think that I wasn't able to make those connections because I wasn't willing to change. How those new connections were going to look, because I wanted the same thing,
Right.
but I had to pivot
and be more open-minded, right? So it's kind of like when I told you guys I love to read. So I was in a book club in Detroit for 9 years. And then I moved down to Florida and I was looking for a book club. So I found one. I get there and they are organized totally differently. Like the way they pick the books and everything. I was just like, no, this is what we got to do. And they're like, you just got here.
Telling folks what to do.
Telling us what to do with our book club,
Yes.
And I was like, let me just chill. And I have made some wonderful friends. And some of the women in the book club look nothing like me.
Wow.
They're not African American. They didn't go to an HBCU. They didn't grow up white, Jewish, much older, younger. I mean, just so we have to first, when you're looking for new friends, when you relocated, you can't try to duplicate what you had. You know what I mean? You got to be open-minded to different types of friends. Because you just never know where that blessing might come.
And it's so funny because when I moved here, I remember, as I started connecting with some women, they were probably double my age. So my daughters was like, Mom, what are you doing? Like, you need to be with some, girls your age. And I'm like, but, I started to adapt, and we had the same commonalities, just because we were different ages didn't mean that we didn't have something in common. And those are some of my greatest friends today. And those were some of the women that embraced me when I came here.
Yes.
And so
mentor you, can give you great advice, can tell you where to avoid pitfalls. Yes.
Yeah. And I feel like it's a season that, yes, we have friends and it's the season that, we're together, and then we need a different type of maybe friend in another season of our life. Maybe when I was a single person, I have friends who we had that similar characteristics, but then getting older, now I'm a wife, I'm a mother, meeting people who had, the same issues that I had, things like that, but they were able to share with me and I was able to receive it. Right.
That is absolutely correct. I had the opposite. When I moved here, a lot of the women were much younger than me. I actually was married before to my college sweetheart, and after 17 years ended up getting divorced. Traumatic for me. Thank God for my friends who were there for me. But when I moved here, I didn't know anybody, and they told me, try this, because I'm a single mom. Connect with some other moms. So I joined the Mocha Moms. Shout out to them. They have chapters all over the country. But moms, typically for Mocha Moms, they're moms of preschoolers or lower elementary school, and my kids were older. So I just reached out to them and said, hey, I'm new to the area. I don't want to go blueberry picking, with the toddlers or go to a puppet show. Because their kids were at home. They were stay-at-home moms. I said, I don't stay at home. I work, and my kids are older. Y'all just let me know when you have mom's night out. And so I ended up going to the first mom's night out, connecting with some great women. Beautiful. Next year later, I'm president. And after that, I'm on the board again, and I stayed president for a few years. You just never know. But a lot of the women were younger than me, but we still had a lot in common, and they brought so much to my life. So that's one of the first things we have to do. Let go of that, image, that box that you're putting people in, that my new girlfriend or my new guy friend has to look like this, do like that. The second mistake that people make when they're trying to establish friendships is assuming that it should happen organically. I should just be at Publix and bump into you and be like, oh my God, you like Captain Crunch too? And then we just skip off into the sunset. And that's not typically how it happens. There has to be some effort. There's another study that was done. People who felt like friendship, they had to require effort, that they had to put in tension. They looked, I believe it was 7 years later. Those people had more friendships than those who said, nope, it's supposed to just happen magically. If we're meant to be, it's just going to happen. And those people ended up years later not having the friendship that they deserve because they didn't put any effort into it.
That is interesting, because I remember when I moved here, I did try and connect. I think it was a meetup app. And I did meet up, and I think I met with a group of women, and like whatever the event was, it was like so far from my house. And I made that my excuse. I'm not going back again, because that was my excuse, because I wasn't willing to put in the effort at that time. And so, 2 years ago, I said, you know what, I'm going to put the effort into connecting with people in my community. And so I joined my local city's Citizens Academy, where I went out and met all the, the leaders in the community and government, and then just built connections that way. And then, Black Girls Run. And then I have another group, Phase 10 Divas. Hey, ladies, we get together once a month to play a card game called Phase 10. It's like a Uno card game, and we love each other so much. And so I feel like you're right. Those relationships that has that intention behind it, they do last.
Right. You cannot expect. I mean, every blue moon, maybe the person that's delivering your DoorDash will become your BFF, but most of the time, you cannot just sit home and hope and wish that, somebody's going to come on your door. So you have to get out there. And don't think of it as being so exhausting, like networking. Right? People who are in business, I'm in sales, and people are like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go network and be fake and have small talk. It doesn't have to be, a chore like that if you have the right attitude. You can just go to places that you're already interested in.
Yes.
Like you said, Black Girls Run. What, y'all got Black Girls Walk? Can we walk?
They run and walk.
Okay.
They run and walk.
We found Black Girls Walk. You go out there if you like to, dance or roller skate or just go to a coffee shop, and just sit and observe. Get off of your phone. How many times have we been somewhere and was like, oh, it sucked? Well, you got there and you just stood in the corner on your cell phone scrolling versus trying to really connect with people.
Yeah, and I think that, I'm so glad that you mentioned the phones, because I think that is another wall that we put up. That's like our friend, or that's our way to, because people are big into social media, and lots of times they have these friends where you're really a fan of someone's, they don't know you, that they're not connected with you. And lots of times you see celebrities, they're like, I don't know this person. How can they speak into my life? You're not, you're not my friend. I don't even know you. You're behind, you're way over there somewhere. And I know that has been a big hindrance maybe for a lot of people, is the phone.
And just thinking that virtual friendships are the same as IRL in real life friendships. They are not. Now, I do have some people who reach out to me who are part of the neurodivergent community, right? They are either on the spectrum, they have issues with social anxiety, or just feeling awkward talking to people. Sometimes what I advise is that it's okay to start virtually, because for them, it might be really difficult to just go into, a live environment. But the goal is always to work towards, a live interaction at some point. There's just no replacing it. I mean, just imagine if you're dating and the whole thing is online. That's how people get catfish. You got to meet in person. You got to see that chemistry is
You hear that,
real.
ladies, who's looking for somebody? I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying that, online dating doesn't work, but I'm just saying, like Anika saying, you have to meet people in the flesh, and you just have to get to that point where you're able to connect that way.
Right. I met my husband online.
There you go.
So that worked, but it was only a couple of times we talked, and it was like, okay, let's do this in person to really
I want to
see.
see you.
That's right.
I want to see you.
That's right. Let's find out if you really 6'2", or did you just say that? Because I'm tall.
Yes.
No disrespect to the short brothers out there.
Yes. I was just listening to something you said a moment ago, because this is another thing that I think we struggle with as women, is trying to find ladies who look like us, not being open to diversity, and I mean, I'm from a big city where diversity is great. I mean, I have friends of every culture. When I did women's ministry, I wanted women from every culture there, but we get trapped by, we just want to be among our own race of people. Is that another hindrance, you think?
It can be. Now, first of all, there is nothing wrong with looking for people who can relate to you. Like you said, if you've had a life stage change, right? You had a baby, your friends don't have a kid, you need to get around some moms so they can talk potty training and breastfeeding. You're an entrepreneur, right? You need to probably be around some people who don't just have a 9-to-5, who can teach you things. So there's definitely some value in commonality. However, that shouldn't limit us. One of the things when I was looking for a book club, because I found quite a few, some of them were like, we only read, books by Black women authors. And that's fine, great, but I want to expand beyond that. I don't want to just read one genre, right? And so the book clubs I have been part of are ones that read a little bit of everything. And I have learned about, what's going on with some Muslim women in other parts of the world. I mean, just a couple years ago, Muslim women have just gotten the right to have a driver's license in their own name. It's crazy. So being able to expand our thinking and our horizon, it works the same for people as well.
And I think that it could play a lot on the fact that we're trying to support, African American businesses. It could be that as well. But, we also have friendships that are only based on that they're a part of an organization, or a group of people. And, I think you miss out so much. When I was at the networking event a couple of weeks ago, I met so many amazing ladies of different cultures, and we've met up again, at another event, at a dinner event. And it didn't even make a big difference that, we weren't from the same place, or, the same area, or we didn't work in the same place. It was just having that common bond.
Right. I say you have to look at what works for you. If you have enough friendships in your sorority and you don't feel like you need to go outside of that, or you're
Yes.
part of a certain organization, or you're on a board and you have your plate full and you are happy and fulfilled.
Yes.
Hey, as Iyanla says, do you, boo-boo?
Exactly.
But the people who I am working with, they are not happy. They're saying, I can't find people who get me. Or even worse, it's one thing to feel isolated or feel alone when you're by yourself.
Yes.
It's another thing to be in a room full of people and still feel isolated.
Yes.
So I know some of your people in your audience might be able to relate to being around people.
Yes.
Everybody's laughing and ha-ha, and you might even consider some of them friends or associates, but you don't feel like you really belong.
Okay.
And so when you're around them, either your voice isn't heard, or you feel like if you miss going out with them, you're not missing anything.
Okay.
And so I would say if you are feeling a sense of longingness, and you could be okay with your current friends, it doesn't mean you have to kick them to the curb, but you still might be missing something extra, right?
Yes.
You might be bored. Like, how many times can we go to brunch, y'all?
Yes,
okay.
exactly.
How many white parties can we go to? Right? And so nothing wrong with tradition, like your phase 10. Is it phase 10?
Yes, phase 10.
Your phase 10 ladies, and having some ritual. That is very important. But if you are getting bored of doing the same thing over and over again, and the people in your crew don't seem like they want to go outside the box, and that's a signal right there that, you know, it's okay to go somewhere by yourself, right? And try to meet some new people.
So what I'm getting from you is that you may have that longing to do something different. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be within your sister circle or your friendship circle.
That's right.
So speaking of friendship, what is your take on friends, man and woman? Two different people. So I'm married and I have a male friend I've had for so many years. What is your take on that?
Good question. I actually did a Facebook Live on this. Those, if you want to follow me, it's 5 Star Friendships. That's FIVE, 5 Star Friendships. I'm on TikTok and on Facebook. And this question comes up around platonic friendships or friendships with the opposite sex, right? And so I think it's great that you shouldn't, for me, have a rule that says you can only have same-sex friends. But it has to work within your relationship.
Yes, exactly.
So if your partner has a problem with it, you're going to need to pump your brakes a little bit and find out why there's a problem, right? Do you have somebody that's insanely jealous, insecure, trust issues, mommy issues, daddy issues? So I would say for me, it's no different than when we said having friends of different ages, right? Having friends of different races. Having a different perspective from a different gender can be helpful. I have male friends. Now, well, with the exception of one, all of them are married, and they're married to friends of mine.
Got it.
So,
so you guys kind of like have a bit of a circle. You all are familiar with each other.
Correct, because that's the thing that causes problems. Like, no, you not friends, we friends. Not we're a unit, right? So if you're going to be friends, if you're you said you know somebody maybe before you got married or before you got booed up, right? As long as your partner, your friend is comfortable with your partner, I don't see a problem with it. And of course, they have to be respectful. There's no calling you at 2 a.m. to chit-chat about stuff if that is a problem for your partner.
It's like you have to be respectful to their partner as well.
Exactly.
Or their spouse.
Exactly. When they're inviting you out, it's inviting you and your partner out now because you are part of a unit now. So as long as your platonic friend is respectful that you're now a unit, I don't see a problem with it. And that, you know, you all are communicating with each other. You're not having conversations that, you know, you're telling them something that you wouldn't tell your husband or your wife. That's when you are on a slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope.
If you're having conversations with them that you can't tell the other person, then you got to cut that out.
So that means it might not be healthy.
Exactly.
So let's talk about Anika. So, you know, you shared some things with me this weekend about how you started, and, you know, where did 5 Star Friendships, where did that land in your heart? How did that land for you?
That is a great question, because my background is in corporate sales, marketing. And I think a lot of us out there, at least if you look at the statistics, most people aren't getting 100% fulfillment from their 9 to 5. Right? We're happy that it takes care of the health care and pays the bills. So I'm not knocking people that, you know, are doing that. But a lot of us have another longing, like we should be doing something else, or I'm meant for something else. And you don't have to cut off one to do the other. You can add to it. And so with 5 Star Friendships, I said Black Girls Walk. I walk in the mornings and I listen to podcasts. and I was listening to a podcast talking about additional streams of income and thinking about things that you do well that maybe come easy to you that might not come easy to other people. And for me, it is socializing. And I started to be able to put these little pieces together. I talked to my sister and she was like, you have been a connector since birth. And I was that kid.
I mean, what she, you know, when I heard what she's doing, you know, 5-star friendships, I'm like, I've never seen anybody doing this. I mean, I've never seen it.
There is, it's a kind of a little bit of a niche area. There are some other people out there who do it. But when I tell people I'm a friendship consultant, they're like, oh, that's great. What is that?
What is that? Yeah. What is that? Yeah.
Why would somebody need a friendship consultant? So, you know, I tell them there are people, you know, once we leave the playground, once we leave the college campuses, it's not as easy. You're not in that bubble where you're seeing people all the time except for work. And so there are people, when we get to adults, it's hard to make friends and sort of find our tribe. The other thing though, because I have a lot of friends, every city I've moved to, I'm able to make really good connections with women. But there are a lot of us out there who are doing the same old thing, and we're not really using our friends to get to the next level. So I teach both how to make friends or how to elevate your current friendships. And so with being a friendship consultant, it just brings me so much joy. I mean, who doesn't want to go around talking about friendship? And when you know the connection to happiness and long-term fulfillment, it's like a win-win all around.
I mean, because you studied it, I can tell that you've studied it, that you have a passion for it. You know, it's great to have a dream and to, you know, want to put your, you know, your effort into something, but finding out what it even is. You know, if somebody asks you, what does that mean, you know, to be a friendship consultant? So what are some of the things that you do for people? For your clients, I should say, not for people.
So one of the things I do is I do a workshop, 2-hour live online, that's in a group. And we walk through a 5-step approach for those who are trying to get back out there socially. And a 5-step approach for people who have friends and we want to take it to the next level. The other thing I do is a one-on-one consultation. Some people aren't comfortable in a group setting and they want to just talk about their specific issue and how they can either, you know, have a better relationship with their current friends or get new friends into their life. So I do those. I also launched a workbook. It's called Friendships to Go. And it is a guided journal. So basically you can go at your own pace and it walks you through steps little by little, starting with examining our childhood, what we thought about friends, the people who raised us, how we saw them interacting with other friends. And it walks you through little by little exercises you can do so that you can start to get closer to the friendships you deserve. And then the last thing, where you saw me, I speak to different groups.
I love it.
And talk to them about, friendship is in so many areas. We talk about friendship in the workplace. We talk about friendships from a romantic perspective. We talk about male friendships. Oh my goodness. You talked about,
that was one of the questions I just asked.
Oh my gosh. Men's friendships are in a state of crisis.
Oh my gosh.
State of crisis.
I don't think that my husband's going to be upset for me by talking about this, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. Transparency, everybody. We were having this conversation this weekend because, you know, we're very, you know, my family's all I have here, you know, besides all of my friends, right? And so we're very close. And so I'm busy. You know, my daughters are busy. My son is busy. And it's like, you know, we're like, hey, why don't you get a friend? And he's like, I don't need a friend. You know, I have family. And okay, I have to accept that.
Right.
But that's just something, you know, why does that happen? Why does that happen?
I did an entire segment on the radio. I'm a repeat guest on WOKB about men's friendships being in crisis and why. We could have a whole nother interview on that, honey. I'll try to summarize it. Basically, a lot of it
guys, I think this must be meant for you all to hear because it just, when she mentioned, I just had to, because this conversation literally just came up in my house when my daughter's like, Mom, you know, I mean, because we want to be around each other, but adult children don't really want to be around us and they don't really want to be around their dad. You know, I mean, for some things, but you know, the friendship thing came up and it was a sore spot. It was such a sore spot.
That you are not unique. There are times I go and talk to, it'll be an all women's group and people will come up to me afterward and say, that was great. How can I get my husband some friends, right? And their husbands are great. It's just the way men have been conditioned to not be as vulnerable. And that's the key thing that's required for friendship, right? I can meet somebody standing in line at the post office or whatever, and we just start talking. How you doing? Oh, I'm kind of rough today. What's going on? Oh, they had a baby done. And we just start to open up, and whereas men won't do that as much, and you need that to start the connection. The other thing is, though, if you go back hundreds and hundreds of years in terms of the way men operate with each other, men typically were the hunters.
Yeah.
They go out
Yeah.
and they're looking for something to kill, to bring back, right?
Okay.
And they go with somebody else. It's a side-by-side activity. They are focused not on the person with them. They're focused on, what's going on. Let me try to get something for my family. Whereas the women back in the village, the town, the hut, whatever you want to call it, the cave, they are working with each other.
Yes.
Doing something, get dinner ready, taking care of babies. It's a face-to-face interaction versus a side-by-side interaction.
Wow.
And so this goes back, hundreds of years. When you see women, when we talk, a lot of times we literally have our bodies facing each other.
We do.
Whereas men, when they get together, even with their friends, they don't sit knees to knees.
Oh, no.
They sit side by side. A lot of them, when they go to the movies, they still got to have an empty seat in between them. And so they have more of a side by side relationship versus a face to face. And it's just a little bit harder to cultivate that way.
So for us as women, we shouldn't push that per se. It has to come organically for them. But it also goes back, you said something earlier, starting from childhood. Like, what does that look like with family, maybe? So that's the next question I want to ask you. So when you have a new client and, you're trying to delve in, what are some of those things that were the stumbling blocks for people maybe starting out as children,
Yeah, that's really important. Well, one thing is, do you have trust issues, right? If you grew up with a lot of turmoil going on in your life, a lot of chaos, you've seen, betrayal, or you've been told you can't trust anybody. Be careful, don't trust anybody, right? Then it's going to be hard for people to get in and get close to you. The other thing I ask is, what did adult friendships look like to you with the adults in your life? Right? Did you see mom saying, hey, it's girls' night, I'll be back? And you used to mom taking time? Or is it, no, my mom never went out. It was all about the family. That was it. Did you see your dad having healthy relationships with other grown men? The number one thing, this is a study from a psychologist. She said specifically for little boys, the number one thing that will determine if they are able to have healthy friendships when they get older is, did they have an adult in their life when they were younger who showed them how to express their emotions in a healthy way? And a lot of people don't have that, especially in our community. They don't have a good role model of how to do that. So they don't feel comfortable doing it when they get to be an adult. And if you don't want to express it, it's hard to make that connection.
And that goes back to men having the vulnerability, especially African American men wanting to connect with other men is, we, a lot of us grew up really stiff, really, really stiff. And that thing with the trust that just that was so incredible. It was so, it was a revelation because I'm sure that most of us grew up like that. And not only was it like, be careful if you trust another female friend, be careful if you trust a man, So then we struggle in those areas of our life as we get older, getting married, how that looks and how that comes out. Because, a marriage is supposed to be a friendship as well.
That's right. That's right. Because most people, when you first meet somebody, who you think about one of your closest friends, right? You had to talk. Right? You had to, this, that, and the other, and you go, oh, really? That happened to you? Oh, I'm so sorry. Or, oh, that's so exciting. Oh, me too. You and I had a conversation. And it was like, we found out we had so much in common, but because we were willing to reveal stuff within our lives. If you're not willing to reveal that, it's hard for other people to be like, oh, okay, I see you. Because what happens is when somebody sees a friendship, you see a little bit of you in the other person. But if you don't give people that opportunity, you keep everything very guarded. You don't want to tell anyone anything about your life. They don't have that opportunity to make that connection. What
do you think some of your success stories are for some of the people that might have come to you that struggled with this? Struggled. Have you had people that really struggled with making friends?
Yes. And it's not an overnight process. You got to be intentional about it and, give yourself some grace. Right? You don't expect
homework was involved?
Right.
Because I could imagine there has to be some homework involved.
Well, it's not difficult. It's really a lot of it is like a self-examination in terms of what do you really want, right? Why are you looking for friends? What is it that's missing, right? Because there are people out there, they just are doing it because they want to be able to post on social media for their birthday or have selfies with other people. And, a lot of we know social media is not real, right? People are putting up what they want you to think. And so you need to, what's your real reason that you want, someone in your life, right? You want people to be able to share your ups and downs with. And you have to look at, is it just that I want somebody to give something to me? You have to be willing to give something to somebody else. Right. So it's like, oh, I need somebody to do this, do this. Okay, are you willing to drive somebody to the airport at 5 a.m.?
Yes, right.
Right? Are you willing to help babysit somebody's kid when they're sick or help out?
That, because friendships, it's a give and a take, not just you being a taker.
Right.
So I totally get that because I probably, if I could think back, I'm sure I've been in relationships, but I feel like people were just taking, and maybe I didn't realize that because that could be a weakness of mine, because I am, a nurturer. So then there's these things about us that, there are friendships that, and it's not good for us because we are givers and we just overgive and we just overlook things.
Right. Happens all the time.
So what do you think about honesty in friendships? Because I know that can be tough, for people just be completely honest and not be fearful that relationship is going to break down. And, can this friendship stand the test of time because I'm being honest with you?
Right. Well, you have to do it in baby steps because, when you are first meeting somebody, you're not going to lay all your cards out there, right? Because there are people out there who hurt other people, right? So you have to be careful who you share, your innermost, feelings and dreams and fears with. But if you have established a rapport, it's been enough time that's gone by, you've seen people in different seasons. The only way to really have a true strong friendship is to be honest, right? Not have to be brutally honest. I know I'm just keeping it 100. I'm just keeping it real.
Oh yeah, that's the new thing.
Yeah, you feel like the more brutal you are, the more. But it doesn't have to be brutal. You can deliver it with compassion, but to have to wear the mask. I mean, how much did we with COVID? We were like, I can't breathe. As soon as you get in your car, you take it off. Think about wearing that mask around other people where you can't be yourself. That is exhausting. And it is emotionally depleting to you. So let's say your friends, they are balling out. And every time you go out, you trying to pay off student loan debt, or you're trying to save up for a house, or you just don't have as much money as them. You got to be honest with them instead of trying to fake the funk and you end up in debt, right?
Exactly.
You got to be honest and be like, hey, I can't, that's not my thing. I don't want to pop bottles. Or there's a thing now, I just did a post about splitting the check.
Oh gosh.
People get so heated about splitting.
Oh my gosh.
There's one group that's like, let's just split it, stop counting the pennies. And other people like, I ordered a soup and you ordered lobster. I'm not splitting it, right?
Exactly.
But the problem is not whether you decide to split it or not. The issue is to communicate with each other so that you don't make assumptions and that you're on the same page. So when you're trying to pretend and not be all the way honest with somebody, to me, you don't have a real friendship. You're not being your authentic self. You're pretending you have money when you don't, in that example. Or you're pretending that you really like to go out and you're like, I really just want to stay home a couple times. I just want
to stay in and let's just have girls' night inside
tonight. Right. Which I do that as well. I like to have a mix. But yeah, you got to do that. Otherwise, you're not really friends. Yeah, they don't really know the real you.
As you were talking about that, do you think that communication can be a killer of friendships? Lack of communication or too much communication? Because I've been talking about this at work and even in my personal life. Communication is everything for me. Like, just coming to me to tell me things before it reaches me. It's like that. It's like my number one pet peeve.
We tell that to our children. Don't let me find out on my own.
Like, let's talk about it. Let's not avoid it, because I think that as friends we avoid conversations, and that's another killer because it just puts a wider divide in between us.
Right. I wouldn't say communication can kill it. It's poor communication.
Poor communication. Lack of.
When you're really not hearing the person, they've told you over and over again that they have boundaries set up, or they express something and you keep ignoring it, and you might not be doing it intentionally. But that is key. You need to be able to say how you feel. And if you have a friend who gets defensive easily, you need to make the decision on whether you want to keep them or not. I know people are quick to like cancel culture and they're toxic, cut them out. I don't like to do that because everybody has a story. A past. Your friend might not know she's being toxic. Your friend might not know that he's being insensitive or extra sensitive or defensive. You have to have a conversation with them and go, hey, not attacking them. You focus more on how you're feeling. I feel, I feel unheard. I feel disappointed. I feel like I'm giving more than, I'm getting, whatever it is. And, do it in a compassionate way. If you do that, not just one time, people, I told them and they didn't listen, so they're out.
That was my next question. My next question was going to be that what if you go to someone and say that and there's this wall up? Do you continue to try and get through that wall?
If the friendship is worth it, if you feel like having them in your life, there are a lot of benefits to it. Right? If you feel like having them in your life, you have a lot of history, they have a lot of good qualities, you would miss them if they were gone. I would say art of grace. Extend some grace, right? Think about things people have told you. Most of us don't change by, one comment, right? We are creatures of habit. We have been wired a certain way, and it takes a while to undo certain bad habits.
Okay.
Right? So if you feel like the friendship is valuable enough and you would miss that person's presence, definitely give them a 1, 2, 3 chances.
Okay.
Now, if you feel like you are, hitting a wall and you've told them several times and you haven't seen any progress, because they might not change overnight, but if you see them making a little bit of progress, work with them.
Okay.
Give them the kudos, the high fives. I see, okay, I asked you to listen to me and you're doing it this time.
Yeah.
So I'm all about grace and forgiveness and trying to be more patient.
And that's the thing. We don't want to have grace all the time.
I know.
Right?
I know.
As you were talking about that, I was thinking of this question here. Do you think that trying to be perfect gets in the way of friendships? So I'm not willing to change. There's nothing wrong with me, but I have no friends.
Right. That's interesting, because that doesn't just get in the way of friendships. That can get in the way of you getting a promotion. That can get in the way of romantic. Yeah. Because I have people who have come to me and it said, they can't trust this person. I tried with this person, everything in it. And I go, okay. So it's not just that you moved to a new city or that, you're a little shy. You're telling me that every single person that you've come in contact, they stabbed me in the back. I go, okay. Is there any common denominators there?
Yeah.
It might be you, boo. It might be something you are doing or giving out, or you're attracting the wrong people who are treating you a certain kind of way. So in those examples around somebody who says, I'm perfect and I don't need to change, they're not ready to start looking at friendship. They need to start working on themselves first.
Got it. So when you determine, when you speak to your clients, you know that there could be one that starts one place and one starts a different place.
Right.
So you're gonna work on yourself, or you're gonna work on building friendships.
Right.
Got it.
And all of us are deserving, because there are people out there who feel like they don't deserve friendships. Like, I'm lonely for a reason. I made some mistakes in the past. All of us have.
Yeah.
All of us. Doesn't matter what you did. I don't care what kind of crackhead journey you have had. Whatever it is. Every single person is worthy and deserves to have somebody in their life, who is not related to you.
Yes.
To be friends with you, to be there for you. Somebody you can trust, somebody who supports you, as long as you are willing to be there for them in return.
Okay. What do you say to women who've grown up in big families? So like my family, it was like about maybe 9 granddaughters before like a boy came into the family. So we didn't really have outside friends for a long time because we had each other. Yeah. So then having to learn how to, okay, how do I deal with somebody outside of this circle in my family?
Yeah.
Do you get that?
I do. I get people. They don't always necessarily even have to have a big family. It's just, I don't need anybody. I got my family.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so what happens if your favorite cousin moves away?
Yes.
Like, who's there for you, right? Oh, my mama's my best friend, my son. And that is fine if your mother is your best friend. But what happens when mom passes away? Like, you need somebody to be there for you as well. The other thing that I say is that even though within families, we all have different personalities.
Yes.
There's a certain mentality that each family carries.
That's true.
And so if you're only interacting with your family, you might be missing out on some other points of view, some different types of dialogue, some opportunities that you wouldn't get. When I went to school, shout out to FAMU and the other Black colleges, HBCUs out there. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. I pretty much only saw Black and white people. And then I get to Florida, and it's all these island people, and it's people who speak Spanish. And I remember saying, oh, you must be Jamaican. They looked at me like, I'm from St. Lucia. And I'm like, isn't that the same? No, Bahamas, Haiti, it's all the same. And they're like, no, they ready to fight. Like,
isn't that something how, we can be so close-minded, sometimes, and then those opportunities come for us to grow.
Right. So me getting exposure to those different kinds of people and learning, no, every island is very different. And all the people that, you interact with, it to me, it's like the same thing. I had my family, my immediate family, my mother, father, and sister. And then I had my family that was just in St. Louis.
Okay.
But until I got outside of the city, outside of the state, and started to meet other people, my whole world opened up. Just going to somebody's house for Thanksgiving.
Yes, right?
My first Thanksgiving, I was a Jamaican family. I was like, did you say we was having goat? Curry goat? Y'all eat goats up in here?
Delicious.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Sure turned out to be delicious, honey.
But trying something different, right? You know what? I love that. I love that. I was just, you said something earlier. It was so good. I'm eating up. She's throwing so many nuggets right now. I'm like, this is so good.
You can see why I was struggling when I
my
had to condense my
God.
presentation at that
Yes.
networking event. There is so much content, so much out there
Yes.
around friendship. Again, I talk to people about friendship at work.
Yes.
Because people are like, nope, I don't want to be friends with anybody at work. My personal life is perfect. You know, personal is so much, which is why I post daily on TikTok and on Facebook
Yes.
with 5-star friendships. Because there's just so much out there to talk about around friendship.
Yes, I have to give Dr. Harriet a shout out because she has been. Listen, we're from the same hometown. I think I told you, Richmond, Virginia, and then I moved here, and then she moved here, and just trying to connect. And that night that she had the networking event, it was the last minute I decided to come. And you said something earlier about just, you know, being drawn to something, like having a desire to want more, you know, in your life. And, you know, that day that I went, it was like, this is what I needed right now. Like, it's a different sister circle, but I needed this, but it was like a drawing to get me there that night.
Right.
You know, so for you, what does that look like for you?
That is a good point. You know, when you have a milestone birthday, a lot of times you start looking at your life and like, what legacy do I want to leave?
Yes.
And that happened for me. Like, you know, my where all of my training and my degrees are great, but they brought me fulfillment in just one area, and I wanted to leave sort of a bigger mark in my community. And so the reason I started 5-Star Friendships is because, well, if you turn on the news, it's depressing.
It's very depressing.
I don't know too many people who would look around and not be concerned about the state of our world right now. Are there some good things? Absolutely. But there's a lot of craziness going on.
Yes.
And it can feel overwhelming to be like, well, how am I going to make a dent in world hunger or homelessness and all these problems going on? And for me, happy people are not mass shooters. Right?
Yes.
Happy people are not going out there and committing, you know, these heinous crimes. For me, the happier we are, the better we are as a society. Yes. And when I realized the connection between long-term happiness and friendship, I was like, this is my way to make my little contribution to the world. If I can get people one friend at a time to just realize how much happier their life could be, you know, spreading that sort of friendship joy, maybe we'll have a little less madness, you know, in the world. Because I'm sure when we see a lot of that craziness on the news, we're like, no, he didn't have a friend. No, she didn't have a friend. Because we've had some friends call us up, right, and say, all right, you going to help me go over there and slash his tires? And you just be like, okay, let's. I will help you because I'm a ride or die, but let's just talk this through. And see, does it make sense to slash his tires? Or is there another way we could go? You know, so.
And listen, okay. We're telling our age because we just had golden birthdays. That's another thing we had in common, right?
That's right.
So years ago, there was no cameras out there, but it's cameras everywhere now, ladies. So no slashing of tires now.
You need a good friend to be like, there's other ways we can do this, child.
And you know, I love that. Like having friends that are going to be, okay, we're going to talk our trash because we're having a bad day.
Right.
But what do we do at the end of that conversation as friends to let's turn this around. Let's leave this conversation with some kind of laughter. You know, because it is, you know, just to have these toxic conversations and they're going nowhere. There should be some type of a positive ending in it.
Right. Well, that's what you hope. And that's the great thing about friends. You can say the most ridiculous stuff. If you have really good friends, they're not going to judge you. Typically, they have said something ridiculous too. You know, and you can say the stuff that's in your head and it's like, oh, I hate this, that, or the other. You really don't want to smash something or do something, but you just need to be able to say it and somebody to go, I understand.
It's a safe place, and that's that vulnerable thing that we have.
That's a great way to say it. Friendship is like one of your ultimate safe spaces, and we all need that.
So what does the future look like for you as far as friendship? Let me go back. I got another good question. Okay. So what has been one of your greatest testimonies with you starting your friendship? 5-Star Friendship. What is like one of your, you might have gotten an email, a text message, something that really touched you that you got from, you know, maybe somebody watching, one of your subscribers, maybe somebody who you've been consulting.
Oh, that's a good one. I've had a lot of good milestones, but you're talking specifically about people who are coming to me for help. Because like going to Dr. Harriet's event or going to another networking group that I'm in called Women on the Rise. I'm meeting people and connecting, and the next thing you know, it's, can you come and spread the friendship message over here? So those for me are very good successes.
Yes.
Right? Because the more I can spread the message, the better.
Yes.
But in terms of people
as women, we're seeing value in that now, because we didn't see value in that before, to say, oh, that's just another Ayanla Van Zandt. Oh, we're not interested in doing that right now.
Right.
But we're open to it, because you really pulled like the wool from over my eyes that day that you presented in that short amount of time. And I was like, oh my God, I love my friends. Like, I mean, I have friends that, I talk to, I might not have talked to them in like 10 years and we talk, it's like it's yesterday. And so I value that.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm glad, because we've had a lot of, it's me season, it's all about me. And that's fine, but we need each other. We need each other. Yeah, this is a person I haven't met. This is the one that's more recent coming to mind. Just as virtual, sending me DM, which I get from people. And usually they'll ask me a question, I might give them a little something, or they'll say, okay, I'll go buy the workbook. But this one, she kept coming back. It was somebody she wanted to approach at work to be friends with, and she didn't want it to seem weird or needy, and and eventually she said, I did it. I got out the courage and I just asked them to go for a drink. I did a post a while ago about how to ask someone out on a friend date.
Nice.
And she took that advice around, having something in mind, going, and she said she was so nervous. It was like, if she was a guy trying to ask a woman out, but I said, don't worry about how you're going to come across. And she said, I don't care what happens. The fact that I did it, I know I can do it again.
Yes.
Right. So she said, they don't have to become my best friend. But I know I can do it.
She overcame.
That one thing. So when they just overcome like a fear, that does my heart good.
Oh my gosh. And then another success story for you. So yes, you're getting out there. Let me hear. I know you have more than one success this year. I know you have more than one. What's one of your dreams for this year for 5-star friendships?
Oh, one of my dreams. That's a good question. I would love to be able to organize something in person for people. Whether it's like a speed friending event. You guys know speed dating.
Fun.
People who are looking to connect, platonically, and have you come out. Or I'm thinking one of my goals is eventually do a friendship summit where we come and we do breakouts and we talk about, some of those challenges that we've had. Why is it that we're having trouble, making friends? And then being able to say what your needs are and being able right there. Somebody go, oh, I want to do that too. Who likes to roller skate? I do too. Let's, and actually helping people connect. So that is my dream, to take what I'm doing now virtually, through the workshops and through the posting that I do and responding to people, even the consultations. Those are, virtual Zoom meetings, to be able to do an event in person.
So for those of you who are watching, would you like to see her do one of these events? Yes, I know that you guys will pay to come to one of these. So when it happens, we're going to post it. She's going to be talking about it, because it's her dream, and we're going to be behind her to get this done.
I love that. I love
friendships. Yes. There was another question I had, and it just slipped my mind. It was another good one. So
talking about that golden birthday, honey. Our memory's not as good as they
it's not
used
as
to
good, because I have so many questions. But you know what? This is great, because Anika's going to come back and do another episode of this, because it's just so much good information. And I'm sure I'm going to see you at another event. You're going to share more good stuff that I'm going to want you to come on here and talk about. It's just bringing me back to like friends that I've had since I was in elementary school. Vanessa and Tanya, shout out to you. Since elementary school, I've known these girls. Tawana, want to say hello to you. Since middle school, we've known each other. We stay in touch on Facebook. And they, we grew up in the inner city, so there was a lot of things that we saw. There was a lot of things that we were exposed to. And just from little kids, we had these friendships that was our safe haven. Like, I would hang out at their houses, we would have our, taking our time getting home after school at the library, and just seeing that grow and develop. My Phase 10 sisters, I can't talk about you ladies enough. This is going to be so we're meeting up on this coming Saturday, and it's going to be our year anniversary. So happy 1 year anniversary, Phase 10 Divas.
Congratulations.
Yes, they are amazing. And then Black Girls Run, amazing group of women. I can't even, oh my God, just amazing. Because it's not only that we get together and walk, and run, but just having those connections and friendships and being able to share during our walks. Just that time is great. It's just so many friendships.
I know those groups are important. I met some great women through Women on the Rise.
Yes.
My book club has been a great source. I talked about the Mocha Moms being another great. People can find, whether it's at your church or, a community center. At work, I have good friends. And then I have friends also all the way back from, my block back in the day through Florida A&M. People I have worked with when I used to live in Detroit. So it is. Let me leave you with one last bit of research, because you made me think of something when you talked about being in the inner city and having friendships kind of as a safe haven.
Yes.
There's a study, and they've done it in multiple different formats, but they basically had a person stand at the bottom of a hill and look and say, how difficult, like on a scale from 1 to 10, do you think it would be for you to, climb that hill? And they would give a number, right? Oh, that looks really steep. That's intense. I don't know if I could climb it, and this, that, and the other.
Yes.
And then they asked people standing next to somebody,
okay,
if I asked the two of you to climb that hill, how difficult do you think it would be?
Okay.
Time and time again, the people always perceived it to be easier
because they had
when it was two, as opposed to one. And that is not just an actual physical hill.
Yeah.
That is metaphorical for things in life. Because we know everybody, no matter how much rich you are, how many videos you do, if you are famous, if you are, an athlete or whatever, no one's life is perfect. Everybody's going to go through something.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
the research shows overwhelmingly you can face challenges. You don't find it as difficult.
Yes.
When you are doing it, side by side with somebody else.
I love it. I love it. I got more questions, people. We gotta have her come back.
We'll do a part two.
We have to do a part two, because you know what? Okay, so we're gonna leave on this, and I remember what it was. That 50-year-old, it came back. It came back. It was talking about. I wanted to ask you a question about emotions, like people who lose someone, because we talked about family. And so I recently encountered someone who lost a family member of her mom, and she just feels so alone. And I'm like, you have to find another emotional support. So I want to talk about that the next time.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about that. Who wants to see Anika come back? We want to see her come back, right? Yes. So, and listen, she's going to drop some good nuggets. Please, I'm going to have her share her platforms with you. And for one of the first people that reach out to her, she's going to give you something super special. I'm going to let her share that with you. I want to let me just give a couple of shout outs, because there's a lot of birthdays this week. My son's birthday was yesterday. My grandson's birthday was Sunday. My husband's birthday was the 3rd. My sister's birthday was this week. A lot of birthdays. So happy birthday to all the February babies.
My son's birthday is today.
Yes. Listen, so we got that in common too. We just talked about that. Just focus on what we talked about today. We want to encourage you to not be afraid to go out and get some friendships. Start small, maybe in church, like you said. Pray. Praying about, who you want to be around, how you want to, where you are in your life. We talked about seasons, a lot we unpacked today. So listen, watch it again, share it. Okay. So you're going to be watching on YouTube. For you guys who are watching online, please share, subscribe, like. All right. And we're going to also upload to Apple and Spotify and some other directories. You will find Art of Grace out there. So I'm going to have Anika share her platforms with you. And look, on the on YouTube and even on Apple and Spotify, I'm going to share all of her links, how you can find her. And we want you to stay in touch. And we're going to bring her back, because this was so good today. It just blessed me so much.
Thank you.
It blessed my socks off. Yeah. So hashtag bless my socks off. All right. So I'm going to have Anika share her platforms with you.
So the one way to find me is to go to my website, because it has links to all of my social media. So that's 5starfriendships.org, FIVESTAR, friendships with an S.org. There you'll see links that I am on TikTok and on Facebook. Anybody watching today, I'm running a special for February on a one-on-one consultation, and I believe you'll share that flyer. So I'm giving a discount. If you want a one-on-one consultation, I'll do that. But the first person to reach out to me who sees this through 5 Star Friendships, and you can just send me an email, say you saw me on Art of Grace, I'll do the consultation 45 minutes for free.
Beautiful.
So the first person is going to get a free one, and everybody else can get the discounted price.
Yes, and I'm going to upload all of that on Facebook. I'll have it on Facebook. I'll have it on my TikTok page. So she wants to hear from you. We want to hear from you. We want you to, get connected with us. Listen, ladies, I want you to just stay tuned this year. We have some amazing guests coming on this year. I'm super, super excited. I mean, so many ladies have been reaching out, telling me they want to be on the platform. It blesses my heart because starting this last year, I could not have ever seen this. And so it makes me happy to highlight women who are in ministry and who are in the marketplace. And these are women who inspire me. So I know that they're going to inspire you. So until the next time, please subscribe, like, and share. Autumn Grace, we appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. There we go. Did it stop? Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. We hope that you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Check us out on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Apple, and Spotify podcasts. Until next time.